You move through your days feeling tired, not tired in the body, though that too, but tired in the soul, as if a part of you has gone dim, like a light left on too long in an empty room. There's no fire, no pull, just a dull flicker of motion. You check your phone again. You walk into rooms and forget why. You keep waiting to feel something, a spark, a wave, a yes, but it doesn't come. Or if it does, it's gone by morning. Low energy, mental fog, a quiet guilt for how much time has passed without you doing the thing you said you'd do, the project you never started, the message you didn't send, the life you promised you'd live, but haven't. And underneath it all, a disconnection. Not from purpose, not exactly, not even from others, from yourself, from something primal, powerful, holy. That tiredness, that fog, is the silence of this current fading. From the energy that once made you feel alive, before you knew the word for it, before the shame, before it got hijacked, pixelated, commodified. Sexual energy. Not lust, not indulgence, not even desire in the way the world sells it, but that raw, sacred hum beneath your skin, the spark that builds empires and births galaxies, the creative pulse behind your most courageous act, your wildest vision, your deepest joy. You felt it before, you might feel it now, somewhere beneath the noise, but it's muffled. Across cultures and time, this energy is honored as sacred, not suppressed. Yoga calls it prana, the life force. Tantra sees it as the divine weaving of opposites. Taoism channels it as Jing, sexual essence. Kundalini describes it as a serpent coiled at the base of your spine, waiting for your permission to rise. None of them treat it as shameful. None reduce it to indulgence. None sees it as something to be expelled, drained, or numbed. They saw it as sacred. The same force that creates life is life. And the more conscious you become of it, the more powerful you become in your own being. In yogic celibacy, it's not repression, it's devotion, energy turned inward, distilled into presence, radiance, insight. In Taoism practice, it's the refinement of Jing into Qi, sensation into clarity, instinct into wisdom. You don't lose the energy, you alchemize it. But today, we don't channel, we click. We don't cultivate, we consume. Modern life is a maze of bright screens, easy dopamine, and cheap imitations of intimacy. Every urge met instantly, every craving catered to, every silence filled. You reach for your phone the way a smoker reaches for a lighter. You scroll the way a gambler pulls the lever, just one more time. It's not your fault, but it is your nervous system. How did something so vital become so hijacked? We mistake stimulation for connection. We mistake habit for healing. We mistake numbness for peace. The part of you that once lit up looking at sunlight through a curtain, at the brush of fingertips, at the pull of a new idea, has been hijacked. Hijacked by convenience. Hijacked by algorithms that know your patterns better than you do. Your brain can't tell the difference anymore between the sacred touch of a lover and the flicker of pixels on a screen, between real release and the empty drop after a dopamine spike. And maybe the most sinister part, it all feels free, but it's not. There is a cost, not in dollars, but in vitality. The price is your spark, your creativity, your sovereignty. You trade the divine fire for borrowed flame, and there's a reason that content is always free. Because you are not the customer, you are the product. They're not selling your pleasure, they're selling your attention. They want you hollow, clicking, wanting, coming back for more. False gods of the screen promise joy without the soul, ashes in your hands. Here's the cruel irony. Even knowing this, you still go back. Not because you're broken, but because the system has convinced you that relief is the same as freedom. A cigarette doesn't give a smoker relief. It only quiets the craving the last cigarette created. Explicit content doesn't liberate your desire. It silences the ache that the last viewing intensified. The problem isn't that it doesn't work. It's that it only works to quiet the pain it causes. It's a loop, a trick of the mind. Relief from the pain that the habit itself caused. And so you chase comfort. But what you find is anesthesia. You chase release. But what you find is depletion. You wake up more tired than when you started. Recognizing the loop is the first step to stepping out. But shame will not save you. Let's be clear. This is not a call to purify or punish. This is not a crusade for a moral high ground. This is a homecoming to yourself. You do not heal by hating the part of you that reached for connection, even if it found it in a lie. We heal by listening, by holding, by becoming the sanctuary you were looking for. No shame, no streaks, no scoreboard. Just presence, just kindness, just breath. Awareness is the beginning of power. Kindness is the first doorway home, and clarity, that's the key that opens the cage. The NoFap movement means well. It recognizes the cost. It points toward discipline, toward reclaiming vitality. But it often becomes another loop, another set of rules, another reason to feel unworthy. Counting days instead of sensing energy, fighting urges instead of befriending them. You don't need another jail cell, no matter how righteous it looks. You need to remember the truth beneath the craving. You don't want to win a battle, you want to come back to your body. Instead of fighting, you learn to be with yourself. There is a way back to the fire, and it begins not with resistance, but with remembrance, with seeing clearly, with choosing gently, with no shame, only truth. And the truth is this: you never lost your power, you just forgot how sacred it is. Begin today. Notice your breath, your body, your sacred energy waiting to return. Let's be honest, you've tried to fight it, the habit, the loop, the late night scroll. You told yourself to stop, you made promises, maybe even kept a few. But eventually the pull came back, not stronger, just sneakier. Have you ever felt the more you fight, the stronger the pull? And somewhere along the way, you started believing the problem was willpower, that you were weak, that you needed to try harder. But what if the issue isn't strength? What if it's perception? Your mind doesn't sabotage you out of spite. It simply protects what it believes is valuable. And right now, it believes the habit is helping you. It thinks the moment of relief matters more than the cost. That split-second drop in tension, it marks as pleasure. That predictable escape route, it marks as safety. So when you try to quit, you're not just walking away. You're confronting a part of your brain that still thinks this is how you survive. But here's the shift. You don't need to fight the habit. You need to see through it, not with judgment, with clarity. This is not about giving something up. This is about releasing something that was never serving you in the first place. You believed explicit content was giving you relief, escape, pleasure, but that's the illusion. It never gave you peace, only brief silence from the craving it created. It's like scratching an itch that it caused and calling that pleasure. The habit creates the ache, then offers itself as the cure, and you've called that medicine. But when you see the trick clearly, without fear or shame, it loses its hold. Grip loosens in light. Truth is not force, but seeing the cage was a dream. This isn't a trick, it's how your subconscious works. It doesn't obey pressure, it obeys belief. Shift the belief, and the behavior follows. You stop chasing because you no longer feel the chase is worth it. You don't need to resist, you simply don't reach. And in that space, freedom begins. Because you remember something deeper, Your energy is not the problem, it's the fuel. You weren't just numbing yourself, you were trading your fire for friction, your potential for pixels, your sacredness for a simulation of connection. It didn't satisfy you, only distracted you. It didn't free your desire, only conditioned it. We're taught to exhaust ourselves for pleasure and relief, but energy is meant to expand. Sexual energy is not shameful, not dirty, not dangerous. It's not a glitch in the system. It is the system. It's life force, creativity, the seed of transformation. When you channel it, you don't suppress desire, you redirect power. Taoist sages called it the foundation of longevity. Tantric mystics turned it into prayer. Kundalini seekers saw it as the gateway to God. They didn't demonize it, they mastered it, not through control, but through presence. They turned attention into alchemy. Modern culture teaches us to expend. Spiritual practice invites us to expand. The difference? Consciousness. The same urge, met with reverence instead of reflex, becomes sacred. And as you reclaim this, let compassion guide you. This is not a punishment, it's a return. So how do you begin? You don't need a monastery, you don't need to swear off pleasure, you don't need to become someone else, you just need to show up. Start with where you are, start with breath. This is practice, not perfection. Notice the pulse without acting, not to suppress, just to see. Watch it rise, feel it bloom, let it peak, and watch it pass. No story, no shame, just awareness. Some days you'll catch it, some days it will catch you. Then pause, write it down. What triggered it? What were you avoiding? What were you needing? Your craving isn't the enemy, it's your messenger. This isn't about catching yourself in the act, it's about understanding what part of you is asking to be seen. Then move the energy, walk, dance, stretch, create. Do something that opens instead of collapses. Let the energy live in you, let it breathe through you. Don't dam it, don't dump it, direct it. And when it's too much, rest. Not discipline, gentleness. Not control, curiosity. And journal often, not to track streaks, but to track yourself. And through it all, remember this. Your self-image is the script your nervous system follows. If you see yourself as addicted, broken, trapped, you'll keep acting that role. But what happens if you rewrite it? What happens if you say, I am in control of my energy. I am a vessel for transformation. I channel my desire into creation. Say it softly, say it again. Let the words settle, not as tricks, but as truth. This is not pretend, this is how you begin to live differently. And belief is the brush that paints reality. Change the story and the craving becomes a voice in the chorus, not the one holding the script. You're not here to resist, you're here to remember who's speaking. The self you're becoming isn't hiding at the end of a long struggle, it's already here, just beneath the static. Even in the smallest shift in how you see yourself, ripples out into how you live, love, create. When you stop draining your energy, you gain presence, you gain power. You walk into rooms differently, you speak with weight. You create with clarity, you love with depth. People feel it, because you're no longer searching, you're radiating. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need a perfect streak. You just need a new relationship with yourself. One where presence wins. One where your power is not something you control, but something you trust. And what does that feel like? It feels like steadiness, breath in your belly, eyes that don't flinch, a spine that remembers how to stand tall. Because when you trust yourself, you stop seeking permission from the world. You no longer need to drain yourself to feel alive. You no longer need to disappear just to be held. You become the altar and the flame, the silence and the voice, the one who no longer begs to be seen because you see yourself. This is your return, not to control, but to creation, not to suppression, but to sacred power. You hold the fire now, and this time you don't burn, you shine. I am the keeper of the fire I once feared, and now I create. Now carry this fire with you.